We're going to have a great day today on 104.1 FM.
Let's take it from the top.
KMOX.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji.
What are you fiddling with over there? He's talking slowly because he's trying to undo a knot.
No, I'm not. I'm just like, I can do whatever I need to do without doing this. Hey, let's have a good time.
Should we have a great time? Here's why we're going to have a great day.
Uh-huh.
Ranj is wearing a colorful shirt.
Well, let's not make a big deal about the shirt I'm wearing.
It's red.
Can we just move on?
I don't think so.
Can we just have a day?
I don't think so.
Does everything have to be about me?
Oftentimes,
you guys are so preoccupied with what I'm doing. Maybe you should worry about yourselves. Good morning, everybody. We're happy to be here today because it is Tuesday. We're with you till 12 o'clock, till the Gas House Gang with Ollie Marmol. He's part of the show at 12. 314-436-7900. Join us, Amy and me, today. Also, on the Odyssey app, leave voice messages. And if you want to watch us, you want to see this bright red shirt?
Yeah.
It's not even that bright. You want to see this red shirt? You want to see Amy's white shirt? And
my sweaty bun? Because guess what? It's a sweat.
Is that sweat?
Yeah.
Holding it together? That is so gross. You can see Matt Pajeski as well.
This is why I can't be on TV.
On YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow us, please, at Chris Amy KMOX.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
Well, a gunman in New York City walked into an office building and shot multiple people. 4 have died, including a police officer. We'll have more on that today.
And you may have noticed that your Ameren bill is through the roof.
Ugh.
What in the world is going on? Maria Kina had the story this morning in Total Information AM. We'll revisit that, and we want to hear from you. If you need to vent about your electric bill,
tell us about it.
Tell us about it. 314-436-7900.
Drop a text, leave a voice message on the Odyssey app. Something's going to have to give there. That can't keep. This is not sustainable. Cardinals beat the Marlins 7-1 last night. They'll play tonight, 6:45. As I mentioned, Ollie Marmol, part of the Gas House Gang, every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. So he is with us today. A lot to talk about with the Cardinals manager. So as we mentioned, a man yesterday afternoon, I guess it was a late afternoon, walked into an office building in Manhattan in New York City and thought he was going to the NFL offices, but it was a building that had multiple different companies inside. NFL was there. Blackstone, which is an investment firm, was also there. He took the wrong elevator. He thought he was going to the NFL offices, and he went to Blackstone instead. Though one NFL employee was hurt in the shooting, this person ended up killing 4 people who worked at Blackstone. Actually, one of them was a New York City police officer. So a note that was found on the suspect's person said that he had CTE and claimed that he played high school football several years ago and blamed his CTE on the NFL. And we know that famously going back 10 to 15 years, a lot of research has been done on brain injuries in the NFL, in the NHL. And we know that the league in particular, the football league, has sort of, or did for a while, I think, try to minimize just how bad the situation was. I don't really know this guy's deal. I don't know his medical history. Clearly, he had an issue with mental illness, and there were multiple run-ins with authorities in the past with the suspect, and his name is Shane Tamura. So don't really know. And we'll probably find out more about him as the days go by. But
and just as you mentioned with the CTE and the football, he was a competitive football player in his youth.
Yeah, in high school.
So and they do say that with CTE, it's not just one big hit to the head, but it's repeated hits over and over again, especially when you're starting at a young age, something that's a concern. And so, we don't know exactly, but they did have that note in his pocket.
So I think it's worth noting that it is very possible, and again, don't know his medical history, but it is very possible that the chronic traumatic encephalopathy ended up causing some sort of disorder that would force a person to do this. We have heard that Aaron Hernandez, famously with the New England Patriots, who committed murder and went to jail for it, that he had. We have seen multiple former NFL players do some really strange things in their lives during football and after football. So I am really interested to know if this is exactly what happened, if it is because of CTE or if he just used it. But clearly the guy was motivated to go to that office and do something. He went to the wrong place. He wasn't where he thought he was. But that is incredibly frightening, what happened in New York.
Yeah. No, it is. And to look at the CTE angle, which of course I think, you want to focus on the victims right now. And you mentioned some of the Blackstone employees who were killed, then also a police officer. The police officer that was killed was 36 years old, an immigrant from Bangladesh, became a New York City police officer, had 2 young sons, and his wife is pregnant with their 3rd child. Just so devastating. And so obviously, first and foremost, you're looking at the victims, praying for them and their families. When you look at the CTE aspect, just kind of breaking down, and we need to find out more. We don't know. I do wonder if they will test his brain, if they can, to see if there is CTE.
When he dies, they can do it. And that's what is really sad about the disease, is that it's very difficult to know for sure until a person dies, until you can actually examine the brain. What is there? I mean, they can do testing, but it's not the same.
Well, he is dead, though.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about the suspect.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay.
Sorry. Yeah, no.
Never mind.
Okay, I didn't know. The suspect
They
in
can.
the New York City shooting, I don't know how it works, if they got to get it from his family or if it's different.
That's a great question. I have no idea.
But I think they should.
Well, they should. I don't know if they can force it on the family, and I don't know that they can do an autopsy without the family's consent. And this is a great question for law enforcement, because it might be a thing that if they commit a crime, they lose that, that
privacy, right?
I don't know if you call it privacy when a person is dead. But this is, he had said in the note that he wanted his brain to be studied. So maybe they would do it. I don't know if they would do it based on just a note, but again, they should. And do you remember, Amy, you may or may not, Junior Seau was a prolific NFL player. And there was a guy named Dave Duerson who played before that. And both of them were suffering from CTE and had it really, really bad later in life. And both of them did the exact same thing. They committed suicide by shooting themselves in the chest. And they did it with the explicit purpose of having their brains tested after the fact, because they wanted everybody to know that something was wrong with them, and they wanted that to be studied and documented, which is really sad if you think about it.
And I know this is different. This is different than being drunk. But if you're drunk and you start doing and saying horrible things, you can't say, oh, it's just the alcohol. Somewhere that's inside of you.
Sure.
So I do want to differentiate between this guy who committed a mass murder and someone who had CTE and took their own lives. I want to make sure that people know that those are two very different things.
And it's also possible that he had no CTE at all. It's possible he just said it.
Yes. And that's the thing. And if he did have CTE, he still had this incredibly violent tendency in him, had issues, whether it was anger issues or mental illness or whatever. That would have to be in conjunction with CTE, because one, people who have CTE, you've seen people who so tragically take their own lives, but they're not hurting other people. And with this one, we don't even know. This was just in his pocket, this letter. So until they know if he even had it, I mean, it could be a guy who's paranoid, who thinks, oh, I played football, I must have it, and was kind of, crazy anyway.
Right.
He could have just been crazy anyway.
He could have just been, thought he had it.
Because like if I played football or whatever and I was depressed and I'm thinking, and I'm getting worked up about the NFL, I mean, that could be a mental illness issue that he had that's not CTE related. Because I'll tell you what, if you told, like, I feel fine, but if you told me later on today that you have COVID, 100% I would start to feel like I have COVID. So you can convince yourself of all sorts of things.
Oh, well, yeah, I would agree with that. And it's possible that's what happened here. I'm, from the perspective of that particular brain injury and how it has affected people. And again, he was not in the NFL. This was somebody who played high school football. And that is a thing that I think a lot of parents have been now for the last 10 to 15 years more conscious of the dangers of youth football and what can happen to kids as they get into high school then and play in college. And as you mentioned, the accumulated, not necessarily head trauma, but just, the brain rattling around inside the skull, which you can't do anything about, that over time it can have some ill effects. Of course, the longer you play football and the more head hits you take, the worse it can be. But I am interested to know, with all of these measures that have been done at all levels, professional level, collegiate level, even at the high school level, if it's all working. I'm curious to know if it is working, if all of these preventative head injury measures that have been taken around the country, if it is preventing more severe cases of CTE. Because Amy, we have seen a lot of football players just act weird. Antonio Brown is a guy I think about a lot. And there was at least a couple of times he took really big hits to the head. One of them was by a guy named Vontaze Burfict, who was sort of known as a dirty player. A lot of people think he is. And he got one particular hit from Burfict. And he seems to have never been the same since. He's done all kinds of weird stuff, leaving the field and taking his shirt off as he's running away from the sideline. Just really, really strange stuff. And it's sad. At some point, yes, it is the person, but also if they've been dealing with a brain injury, you kind of have to have a lot of sympathy for them too, no matter how weird they've been.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a difficult conversation in the sense that it's almost like two conversations right now.
It really is.
Because there's CTE and the pain that people with CTE go through. And like I said, I feel like more often than not, it's them hurting themselves. Then there's this mass murderer who ruined the lives of families.
Multiple people.
Who stole a father from 3 little kids, a baby that's not born yet, who, stole a husband from wife, stole a wife from husbands. And he is a mass murderer. And if you have CTE, that is awful. It doesn't mean...
It doesn't excuse this.
It doesn't excuse being a mass murderer. And we don't know. But we don't know if he has it, because if this guy, obviously mentally ill or evil in some capacity, he could have convinced himself he has it. We don't know. But
if it turns out he does, while it is not excusable what he did, I think we have to have some sympathy for the disease. Actually, we need to have a lot of sympathy for it, because the only way you can help fix it is by having that sympathy.
For the disease, but I mean, I think it needs to be careful with being clear that a lot of people have CTE
and don't do this.
They're not mass murderers,
right,
and so this guy was awful.
Well, I don't have sympathy for him in doing this. What I'm saying is, you're not forced to play football. I know that, and kids, I know that a lot of parents just don't want their kids to play because of stuff like this. I just think the awareness of it and the continued awareness of it is the only thing that leads us to a path where ultimately they can figure out a way to minimize the effects of it, right? It's just like any other disease. We talk about lung cancer all the time, or blood cancers, or dementia, all of these things. And by the way, CTE can lead to dementia and that sort of thing. We just have to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
But it is, the entire situation is really sad. And I'd love to know ultimately if this guy suffered from it for real or if he just said it in the note.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tragic. And again, just our hearts are broken for the victims' families and people who were the people who survived, the people who weren't shot, who experienced that traumatic event. What does life look like for you moving forward?
Yeah, stays with you forever.
Yeah.
That's Amy Marks, Scores. I'm Chris Ranji. Join the show today. Want to hear from you. Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, will join us at 10 o'clock as he always does. We'll talk Cardinals with John Denton from MLB.com. And there is a documentary that is coming out next month. And we are going to talk to Darren Seals, who is a community leader with the Sankofa Unity Center coming here. He'll be in studio with us, and the documentary is called Catching Bullets, and it is opening in Pagedale, Missouri. So we're gonna talk to Darren later on in the show. Want to hear from you? 314-436-7900. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Selling your home, every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
The smartest way to do your homework is Heckman Lumber.
Warm weather means homework for homeowners. And for 80 years, Hackman Lumber has been the trusted name for home improvement. If your homework means a new deck, turn to the deck experts at Hackman Lumber. Browse the largest inventory of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. Talk with our experts about treated lumber, cedar, TimberTech, Trex, Envision, Decorators, and Duralife to find the perfect deck for you. Choose from endless railings, balusters, and LED deck lighting options. Hackman Lumber has been serving homeowners and pros for 80 years, and they will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials guaranteed. Whether you DIY with their expert advice or need a trusted contractor, Hackman has you covered. They are now an authorized steel dealer and stock a huge selection of grills. So celebrate summer with the new Big Green Egg, pellet grills, Weber gas, or charcoal grill, and all the accessories you need for the perfect backyard setup. Visit Hackman Lumber's showrooms in St. Charles, Pacific, and Troy, Missouri, or HackmanSTL.com.
I'm Kristen Press. And I'm Tobin Heath. We're World Cup winners, Olympians, and the hosts of The Recap Show.
Every week, we sit down with the icons, disruptors, and game changers on the field and beyond it to talk victories, heartbreaks, and everything in between.
We've built a space where athletes, change makers, and people creating the future of women's sports can show up and show off as their full, unapologetic selves.
Follow and listen to The Recap Show wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club, Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
We were talking about the gunman that killed 4 people in New York City. We focused on the CTE or alleged CTE aspect
because he claimed
of
to have it.
Yeah, and that's why he had a beef with the NFL. He did explain what that was in his note, just said he had an issue with it. He played youth football, claimed he had CTE, but I think, the focus of the story absolutely needs to be on the victims of this mass murderer. And Ron, I don't know if it's because we're in the news, and so perhaps I feel like I absorb more stories than I would like to.
Right.
But I do find myself, when you hear these stories, or thinking, if I go to an event, would I act courageously? Would it be instinctive for me to be sacrificial in a situation like that? Like a shooter, there was the stabbing at the Walmart, which was awful, tragic. What was it? 11 people were stabbed at that Walmart a couple days ago. And if something like that were to happen, I pray, I really do pray that my first instinct without thinking would be to be sacrificial. Throw yourself on top of somebody, right? To protect them from gunfire or something. It's such a dark thought, but I have had that thought before.
Well, I would think that I would protect, if I'm with somebody, protect them. I don't know about strangers. I don't really know. I would like to think I would. And I think all of us would like to think that we would spring into action and we would do something courageous. I don't think anybody really knows until it happens to them. Even police officers who are trained with weapons sometimes don't really know how they're going to react when something goes down.
Because I do think maybe, that the human nature is self-preservation.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to be my inclination in a situation like that. And if you've, if you're in law enforcement or have been in a situation and you want to share, 314-436-7900, you can call or text. But I do, you think how you can't recreate that situation, right? You never know until you're in it. But I just would want to be sacrificial because you see people who are immediately sacrificial. You see those teachers, right? Who throw their bodies over the kids.
Well, that is, I think that is, that's coming from a place of love because they have an attachment to the kids. If you're out and about and it happens, you have an attachment to your partner and somebody starts shooting, you're probably going to jump and, try to save your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. I think you're going to do that. I think that you can't really know for sure how you're going to react until the danger is present. That's why when people do train a lot, police train for these situations, even in the military, they train, you don't really know until there's actual danger because up until that point, it's just a drill. So like in a tornado or a fire, you do those drills, you just kind of going about the motions, going about the business, and then you go and you do whatever you have to. But until there's an actual fire and you're in the middle of it, you don't know how you're going to react. And I will tell you this, I think it is because of things like Columbine and Aurora and mall shootings that pretty much anytime I go anywhere in public, while I may not be thinking about it the entire time, I am always somewhere in my brain aware of the fact that, hey, somebody can come in here and start shooting. I think about, I went to see a movie the other day that I thought about it. And one of the things I thought about is, should I be closer to the door or the back door where we all walk in, or should I be further away from it? Would I be the first person? You know, if they came in and I'm sitting right there, I think about that stuff, and it sucks. And it's sad that as a society we have to, and maybe I'm a little crazier.
We're probably in it. We're steeped in it. We're steeped in it.
I would guess most people don't think like that, but I am always a concert. I think about it at a concert.
So, and I know this is why we have, we want to honor our first responders, honor our military, because that is their job, is to run towards the gunfire. That's their job, is to run into the fire, burning flames. You think of 9/11 and all the firefighters that went up in those towers knowing they were not going to come back out.
I don't know that all of them did, because nobody believed that those buildings were going to come down.
Or knowing how dangerous the situation was.
Sure. Yeah. It's a person who does that instinctively.
Yeah.
There's something special about you if you can do that. And we would all like to think we would, but I think most of us have no idea until something bad happens that hopefully you never experience. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji here today. We know that energy prices have gone up, and a lot of you are feeling it with your electricity bill. And I've heard from many people, including some in this room, that their latest energy bill through the roof, worse than usual, even in the summertime. What's going on with Ameren? What can we do about it? What are you doing about it? We are going to talk about that next on KMOX.
Major League Baseball's trade deadline is Thursday at 5. What moves are the Cardinals hoping to make? Who'll stay? Who'll go?
You'd like to be on the other end where you're looking to add, but maybe there might be some version of addition by subtraction.
All day Thursday, stay with KMOX Sports for hourly trade updates, breaking trade deadline news when it happens, plus a complete look at what to expect on the Gas House Gang at noon and at 5. The Redbird Rush Hour will break down all that's happened with analysis and insight. The trade deadline. We've got it covered on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Currently, it's 87 degrees. It feels like 101. The air quality is poor. Could be a thunderstorm this morning. Otherwise, partly sunny and hot today. A high of 97, low tonight, 76.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Get a Metro Transit $5 day pass from Metro St. Louis and go anywhere Metro goes, no matter how far or how long, all day long. Super chill, clean, safe, and reliable, not to mention AC and free Wi-Fi. Go to metrostl.org to get your pass today.
You hear that? That's Mike sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZQL Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's one of baseball's fiercest rivalries, the Cubs versus the Cardinals, and the action returns to Busch Stadium the weekend of August 8th through the 10th. Feel the heat, the history, and the excitement as these two legendary teams battle it out under the summer lights. 3 big games, 2 historic teams, 1 electric atmosphere you won't want to miss. Great seats remain. Secure yours today at Cardinals.com.
This is Wilson Contreras, San Luis Cardinals, for the Loop.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball.
It's more than a game, it's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer for Cardinals Nation. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands, because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody, it's our favorite song.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. It's National Carpet Cleaning Month, and because of Zero Res's commitment to the DGS, you're going to get 3 rooms of carpeting clean plus 1 free plus $50 off your air duct services. 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
Today, the Cards, the Marlins. Ameren Total Access 550. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark scores with you on this soupy.
Disgusting. The dew point is 78.
Day. Not going to lie, guys.
78.
This morning.
It starts to get uncomfortable at like 65.
Yes. 74 is considered tropical.
Disgusting.
Well, tropical, disgusting, yeah. Well, at any rate, it is very soupy, very hot. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think this morning was the soupiest morning of all the mornings so far this summer. Because I ran this morning and I lost 4 pounds of sweat in an hour and 10 minutes. 4 pounds. That's a lot.
Well, that's on you for how long do you run?
Hour and 10 minutes.
That's on you for running an hour and 10 minutes in this stuff.
Yeah.
I almost said bad words.
You can't do that. So at any rate, people have, keep your air conditioning on, trying to stay cool. I know Ameren says to keep it at 78. That's insane.
I'm at 75 right now.
Oh, are you too, Matt?
Yeah, me too.
But does your place feel warm right now?
It's a little warm. It's getting there.
Okay.
But my bill was really high, so I had to bump it up.
Yeah.
See, I haven't gotten I've got my first bill.
He moved to a cave.
I must be in a cave because it stays cool in there all the time. And I'm at 75 and when I open the door from the outside, it's like, air's on.
Oh,
and
that's
it's barely
insane.
on. It's great. Well, anyway,
Rate.
I would love to know what the next bill is going to be. And by the way, Colonel Ripper tells us to stop complaining. Yeah, he's watching on YouTube, says stop complaining.
Well, we will.
We will not. We will not stop
Thursday.
complaining. Yes, when it's in the high 70s,
Yes.
absolutely.
So Ameren customers, now we talked about this a few weeks ago because remember when I lived in my little tiny 1-bedroom studio, 300 square feet on a good day, my bill was pretty consistently $32 for electric. And then it doubled to $60, almost doubled to $60. And guess what? I moved out. I kept it at 78. It was still $60, the last bill. So we talked about the Ameren rates, and Ameren, Missouri raised its residential electricity rates by 12% on June 1st, but it seems that the rates are just spiking even higher than people were expecting, more than the Ameren said it would be $12 more a month or something like that per customer, and it's been a lot more than that. Yeah, $12 a month is what they averaged. But Maria Kina looked into this story more and had a very interesting conversation.
Ameren's customer advocacy manager, Paige Selby, also points to the electricity rate being higher in the summer and usage being much more because of the extreme heat recently. She recommends unplugging things like phone chargers that are not in use.
So there's little things like that can also add up.
Now, everyone I've spoken with, when they contacted Ameren, well, your usage is comparable to last year. So if that's the case, if it's being compared to last year, how is it that it doubled this year?
I can't speak to that because every account and everybody's usage is going to be different. So without looking at the specific bills, I wouldn't be able to speak to that other than to say, there's also different rate options available. So, if people look at the way that and when they use it, they might want to try a time of use rate, which has some opportunities to save, like our morning savers. You pay a little bit less.
So when they receive these bills, and a lot of people, it's kind of been shell shocked to see a bill more than double, close to 50%.
Mm-hmm.
What should they do at that point, especially if they can't maybe make that payment?
Sure. If they can't pay it, then we really encourage them to reach out and talk to us because we have lots of options available. And, we always will set up a payment agreement. Most people are eligible for those payment agreements where you can pay it off over time. But even more than that, I encourage folks to look at our website about many of the programs that are available. There are so many programs, and I never cease to be amazed at how many people I talk to that don't realize that they're eligible for it. Or maybe they applied in the past and they weren't eligible, and so they don't realize that the income eligibility has gone up, and maybe now they do qualify. If they got LIHEAP earlier this year, they're also available for crisis assistance if they are facing a disconnection. There's dollar more assistance.
And Paige, can you explain to the listeners so they understand what was this 12% increase for?
So it was for investments that have already been made in our system, which we saw a lot of success in the last storms with outages prevented. So we continue to make investments to make sure that everybody has that AC. And when you flip the light switch on, the lights come on. So that's what those investments are.
As to why Ameren, Missouri chose to enact the 12% rate hike June 1st, when the electricity rates are already higher in the summer months, that still isn't clear. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Yeah, I wasn't satisfied with some of those answers.
It was kind of a non-answer.
Yeah, so if usage rate is not higher year to year, which is what Maria asked, then why is it up 40%? She's like, well, I can't speak to everybody's usage. Everybody's there. That doesn't answer the question. We're talking about, generally speaking, why are bills up 40% if usage is not necessarily up over last year at this exact same time?
Right. Because
last year was also hot. This is not different.
And they said that usage is up now. Usage is up now. I guess what she was referring to is because it's summer, but it's not up year over year.
Yeah.
So I feel like I didn't learn anything.
No, and I'll tell you
confused.
what. That's and I know that's a PR person speaking.
Yeah.
So she's not going to really help us out.
So,
but here's what I do know: they're going to have to figure it out because and nationally we're going to have to figure it out too because it's not just Ameren. Prices are expected to be up across the board around the country, something like 22%. And so we're all going to have to figure it out somehow. And a lot of this, not a lot, a decent amount of this is being driven by data centers because all these new data centers that are being built around the country are sucking up a lot of power. So that's going to come back on all of us. But I know this as well. This is not sustainable. People cannot have a $30 bill one month and the next month it is $200. That's just, it's not going to work for people. So somebody's going to have to figure it out.
So Fox 2, our friends over at Fox 2 talked to multiple people reporting that their bills just skyrocketed. They noted one customer reported an increase from a bill that was $105 in June to $254 in July. Another reported an increase from $120 to $395. That is a massive budgeting issue.
Yes, it is.
Because you're looking at, my goodness, I mean, you're looking at rates that are half of your grocery bill or what, a rate change that would be a huge chunk of cash out of your monthly budget that you were not expecting.
And most people, I mean, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people are not going to be able to afford that. So something is going to have to give. Joey is in Carondelet with us now on KMOX. Hi, Joey.
Hey, what's up, Ranger? Amy,
Oh,
how you
God.
guys doing?
Oh, boy.
I know.
Oh, boy. Where are you coming from?
I'm coming from being angry at Amarin.
Okay. Okay.
We didn't know what.
You threw out the Ranger. I needed to know what that was about. Okay.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's Claves. Yeah, it's Claves.
Oh, there you
he
go.
calls you Ranger.
There you
go. Yeah, long time listener. So I got my bill last month, and it was $22.19.
Oh.
And I moved out of the building and turned the air conditioning up to like 80.
Oh.
My bill for this month of the place that I just moved out of is $170. That's a $750 increase, or 750% increase.
So you went for, hold on a second.
At what point is it not legal?
So you turned the thermostat up to 80.
Correct.
Which means the AC was barely working.
Correct.
And it went up. It went from 22 to 170.
That's correct.
What in the hell?
Okay.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, and I'm being like completely serious here because, you know, they said, yes, there's a 12% increase. For most homes, it will be a $12 increase. Again, at what point, I hate to say in the free market, like this is illegal.
And
but
thank you, Joey.
You can't. Yeah. What Joey just experienced, a 700% increase.
Come on, man. That's not sustainable. What if he had left the temperature at 72?
Well,
what would it have gone to?
And here's why I
like
mean,
250?
And I totally believe Joey because like I said, my 300 square foot apartment that jumped from $30 to $60. I was living with it at like 68 degrees when it was $30. And then I've been keeping it at 78 because I'm not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that jumped up to 60.
That's absolute insanity. Apparently, Brad Young has called in.
Brad Young, is this legal?
Yeah, Brad, where's who can we sue over this?
Yeah, that'd be a great idea, guys. No, here's what I'm going to keep you informed of doing. Solar energy, of course, it would be a nice, attractive option, but you've got to spend, you literally have to donate an arm and a leg, and then you're armless and legless in order to get those ceiling, rooftop solar panels.
Right.
So what I've done, I'm starting my experiment at the end of July. I bought 2 solar panels. They cost me $140 for both of them, $70 a piece. And I bought a micro inverter that cost me $120, and I'm hooking it up this weekend. And if my back of the envelope estimates are correct, just that simple, modest investment could reduce a summertime electric bill by 25%, just with that modest investment. So I'm going to try that out, and I'll certainly keep you informed of the results of my experiment. But, when people say solar, solar, it'll really cut your electric bill. Yeah, but who's got $500,000 to
invest up front?
Spend? It's crazy. Yeah. Very few people can actually do that. Mm-hmm. So my total investment is $300. That's doable. All right. And if it would reduce your electric costs in the summertime by 25%, that's truly a viable option.
Hey, Brad, in all seriousness, too, with when I was saying, is this legal? So you have the regulators in the Missouri Public Services Commission approving that 12% increase. And Amarin said, well, it'll be $12 for most people. It's not $12 for most people. No. At what point do you say this is misleading and you can't have a $60 electric bill jump to $300 and surprise people? That's a huge budget issue.
Right. And there's actually a legal way to do that. And the legal way to do that is you would have to have hard numbers. I mean, for example, with the interview that Maria just did, that person was slippier, more slippy, if that's the right word. Slipperier. Sorry, I've only had 2 cups of coffee.
I rest my case.
That's why. That's the reason why I don't do morning radio. Okay, it's usually afternoon radio. I've had plenty of coffee, but she's
no banana peel cases.
Correct, but she's worse than trying to nail Jell-O to the wall.
Yeah.
Okay? It's impossible. But if you had hard numbers and could show that your kilowatt hour usage from last year to this year is identical and your bill goes up by 50%, that would be sufficient to legally challenge the alleged 12% rate increase.
We need someone to do that. Who can measure their kilowatts?
It's really not hard. In fact, Ameren gives you the data. You can ask for all of your electric usage directly from Ameren, and they've got to give it to you. And then when they give it to you, you can turn around and use that to challenge the amount of the rate increase.
Okay. This is good stuff, Brad, because I find this upsetting. Like,
it is upsetting because listen, here's the reason why it's upsetting. The reason why the electric utilities have to go and get a rate increase approval is because they are a monopoly. Monopolies are by definition bad, okay? Because there's no competition. But when you've got a monopoly that says, oh, we're only going to raise your rates by 12%, and then you've got a 50% increase in your electric bill, then by definition, if that is occurring, that monopoly is violating the public trust that allows the monopoly to exist in the first place.
Brad Young, we appreciate you jumping in on this.
Thank you.
And we're gonna need you to get involved with the class action lawsuit, which is inevitable.
Well, listen, as long as the fees are there, you got me.
This guy. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, Harris Dowell Fisher and Young, partner there.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. This can't go on. It's not sustainable. There are some people like, no big deal, whatever I could pay for it. Not most people.
Not me.
By the way, our question of the week on our Twitter account, you need to follow us at Chris Amy KMOX, and we have a question of the week about this very topic.
With your AC, even if you set it at 80, do you keep the AC fan on all the time, or do you let the AC completely, the fan shut off? I've heard both theories, that you keep the fan on all the time, no matter what you set it at, or you have the fan shut off when the AC
because if you the theory is that if you let it be warm during the day and then you come home and turn it on up high later, you're using a bunch of energy to cool the place down.
Is it because the fan's on?
Right.
No matter what.
So let us know. Follow us on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX. Let us know what you do. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month and experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying for it. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
The KMOX City FC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. It's the Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill on Lindbergh, Thursday, August 7th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or picture with City SC defensive midfielder Jake Gerwood-Reich. Register to win great prizes. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots on Lindbergh, the place to be Thursday, August 7th from 5 till 7 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-388-6607, 800-388-6607, 800-388-6607.
With the heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, simple, quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
Calling all soccer fans, the Premier League is coming to STL. St. Louis City SC will host English Premier League giants Aston Villa Football Club Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. Wednesday, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. That's stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Okay, this is kind of dark, but China, which is usually plays the long game, like they think in terms of like millennia.
Yeah.
Unlike Americans.
20 years ahead.
They're
like all about the now.
Well, they're like not 20 years ahead. They're 500 years ahead.
Whatever.
Usually. Except really super short-sighted when they had their evil and tragic one baby policy. That's when all the window babies, little girls would die. It was awful. But they had one baby policy for years and years and years. That was only rescinded in 2016. Well, guess what? China, one, has a surplus of men. There's like 30 million more men than girls because people were prioritizing sons. So they don't have anyone to marry. And two, they don't have enough babies being born to maintain a stable population. People got used to having one kid. So now they are paying $500 a year for the first 3 years to have kids. It's a birthing incentive. We'll give you $500 a year for the first 3 years if you have a kid, because they basically trained a population to not have kids. Because when you do have one child, you will allocate your finances differently. You can live a certain lifestyle, and that kid can expect certain things when you only have one kid versus 4 or 5. So it's not just that, once we allow people to have more kids, they'll have more kids. No, you've changed a culture. You've changed a culture to where now they're used to one kid. It's a huge issue, and people are not having kids in China.
We will talk to Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth. The Fed will have an announcement on interest rates tomorrow. Expected. Also, unemployment report is coming out later in the week. We'll have inflation numbers. So a lot of stuff to talk about with Dave Simons, how it affects your finances. Dave is next on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius. Or two have geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than $2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It is 10 o'clock, and right now it's already hot out there. It's 87 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey. And St. Louis County Executive Sam Page reportedly under state investigation. KMOX confirmed Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers were at county offices yesterday, reportedly serving a subpoena for documents and possibly Page's cell phone. It may be connected to an attorney general investigation into whether Page illegally used taxpayer funds for a political mailer earlier in the spring.
This is not something we want to take lightly, and we want to make sure that all the facts are correct here.
Republican Councilman Mark Harder says he hopes Page will be at tonight's county council meeting at 6:30.
We're going to try to ask for some details tonight, I believe, at the council meeting, if Mr. Page does show up.
KMOX has reached out to the Attorney General's office. We are awaiting response. A UN-backed monitor says the worst-case scenario of famine is unfolding now in Gaza. Airdropping food isn't going to be enough, and widespread death will occur without immediate action. This Palestinian man speaking through a BBC interpreter says famine has been a long reality.
We've been dead for 5 months, alive but dead. No one cares about us. After we died, there's an announcement about us. Where have you been all this time? You don't care about us. Where are the human rights? Where is the European Union?
Gaza's health ministry says more than 60,000 Palestinians have been killed in the 21-month Israel-Hamas war. Israeli strikes overnight killed more than 24 people, mostly women and children, according to health officials. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin says, yes, Hamas barbarically attacked Israel and continues to hold hostages, but says Israel should let more humanitarian aid through to the people of Gaza, and says Israel should have started thinking long ago about what comes next.
Several noted Israeli military leaders tried, including Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, Director of Israeli Security Agent Ronan Bar, both of whom were fired by Netanyahu.
Durbin, in a speech on the Senate floor, says continuing the war without a discernible end is not in Israel's national security interest. Police in New York City are getting closer to determining a motive for the mass shooting inside an office building. Officials say the lone gunman killed 4 people, including 1 police officer. Another is in critical condition. Officials believe that the NFL was the target of the shooting. Retired FBI Special Agent Mary Ellen O'Toole shares more on how investigators are handling things.
What they'll be looking into is what was the basis for the mental health hold that he had, I think, in 2022 and then last year in 2024. What happened that precipitated that, and what were the behaviors that were associated with that?
The gunman was Shane Tamura of Las Vegas. They suggest he had a grievance against the NFL over a claim he suffered from a brain disease linked to contact sports. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs have asked a judge in New York to release him on $50 million bond while he awaits sentencing for this month's conviction on charges of transportation to engage in prostitution. He is scheduled to be sentenced October 3rd. The weather is sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies.
We're still under an extreme heat warning through 7 p.m. tomorrow. Very hot and humid this afternoon with more sun than clouds, high 97. AccuWeather real field temperatures near 110. Mainly clear, very warm and sticky tonight, low 78. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 87 degrees at 10:04. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Nine to noon every weekday. It is Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. If you're just tuning in, good morning and hello. Glad you're with us today. We are now going to the guest line. Partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, Dave Simons, who is a regular contributor to KMOX over the years and with us now as there are all kinds of financial issues that we need to talk about. Dave, how you doing?
Well, trying to stay cool like everybody else, Chris. It is a little tough out there.
Yeah. So what sort of stocks do you need to buy to make some quick money so you can pay your energy bill?
Yeah, the day traders, if they're successful, I guess that's the way to do it. But holy cow, it's tough.
Yeah. And I know you focus on stocks and longer term investments. But Dave, how often are you talking to a client who trying to make things work with investments, but then gets hit with unexpected expenses like, electric bill that went up from $100 a month to $450 a month, or a medical issue where suddenly they don't seem to have a comfortable cash flow?
Yeah, Amy, that's why it's so important for people to make sure they have emergency savings. When I talk to newer and younger investors in particular, so like young adult kids of clients, and they'll come to me and say, hey, I would like to start a stock portfolio like you've helped my parents all these years. I said, okay, great. How much do you have in emergency savings? So if you quickly need to buy 4 new tires, or your car insurance, because you're young, is probably going to go up and you're going to be off your parents' insurance soon. And they kind of look at me and go, well, I got about $800. Like, okay, there's no stock investing for you. Mm-hmm. And so, Amy, I always tell people, like, minimum emergency savings. You really should get into that 8 to 10 grand just in cash, put it into some money market. After that, everybody's going to be a little bit different. Some people would say, well, you should have even more than that. For example, a full year of income. Wow, put aside. Yeah. Well, a lot of people can't quite get to that. So I start with the thing that you just referenced: higher electric bills, food inflation, need new tires, or a medical emergency. Have that first.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to ask you a question based on how I know that 60% of the people, maybe more, are in their cars right now and heard you say you need to have $8,000 to $10,000 ready to go in an emergency fund. How many people heard you say that and went, what? 8 to 10? No doubt. I don't have $8,000 to $10,000 just laying around. I guarantee you. So what if you're that, what do you do?
Yeah, Chris, because you're exactly right. Because every survey, poll, study that I've seen shows that at least half, if not 60%, using the percentage that you use, can't. If they had to come up, and I think the number was like $1,000, it wasn't a huge number, could not come up with it. And so that's really tough for people who have to live paycheck to paycheck. And I know a lot of people listening to us right now, they're in that boat. And so they know that they need to save, but they're saying, Dave, I don't know how I can do it with this inflation, and my income hasn't kept up with it. There's not a lot that I can advise that all of a sudden there's a magic pill, other than, look, and this could be some tough medicine for people, so I don't mean to step on some toes, but the times that I will sit down with some folks, and it's usually, again, these are the emerging adults, I would say, who are probably living a little bit above their means. That's not everybody. I'm not criticizing everybody that doesn't have the $1,000, but I'm telling you, a lot of people will say, yeah, maybe I didn't need to take that trip to Italy to see my best friend get married last month. Maybe I could have kept from purchasing that particular new bike because I love to bike. There is a way, if you can live really, really frugally, that you can at least get to a few $1,000s. It can happen, but it takes sacrifice.
Hey, Dave, this was a phrase that I heard when I was younger, like way too young to be thinking about buying a house, because it was pre-housing crisis, pre-2008. But one of the phrases I heard a lot was like the phrase house poor, like where someone really stretches themselves to buy a McMansion or, a big house, and then they couldn't furnish it, or maybe they couldn't get a new car or couldn't go on vacations. But I feel like I don't hear that phrase anymore. Have Americans changed the way they view buying homes, or am I just out of the loop?
No, I think you're exactly right, Amy. I think it is really since the Great Recession and housing prices crumbled and so many people got burned. I knew one family that purchased a bigger house than they really could have afforded, and their curtains, their drapes were newspapers.
Oh.
And I just thought, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And you know what? And not to cast aspersions at the mortgage or lending industry, but if you've ever been through the process, a lot of times you'll sit down and say, okay, based on what I've seen here with your assets and your income, you can afford this house. And I'm thinking, no, I can't. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And so you typically have to back off a little bit, and it's the old keep up with the Joneses. So I think you're right, Amy. I don't think it's the house poor thing, but one thing that I do see, there's a lot more travel stuff that's happening now. I see this with my own kids who are 28 and, she'll be 31 this Friday. And I'm thinking, holy cow, I didn't even take a vacation till I was 28 years old and married. And I drove to Colorado, and I even, not to the old get out the small violin, but talk about sacrifice. My first job out in Kansas, I had an old beat up 75 Ford LTD that I sold and rode a bike to work in my one suit that I had for an entire year. And I know young people, a lot will make sacrifices, but I don't get a sense that the sacrifices are nearly the same as generations before.
So
that's a good point.
Before we move on, I just want to make sure, are you saying that you're not supposed to have newspaper curtains?
Send me some pictures. I'll help you with that, Chris.
Okay.
I'd always heard that your house, like if you furnish it accordingly, like a lot of times it's 20%. The furnishing, the decorating is going to cost you 20%
of what the house costs.
Of what the house cost.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Well, I could be wrong.
Yeah, where'd you get that one?
You know how expensive draperies are?
Well, apparently that's why I've got newspapers in my house.
I'm just thinking, like, I believe it. I'm like, I mean, I moved to a tiny house. It couldn't be any smaller. My apartment, my old apartment was bigger than my house, but I like it. But I mean, every time you buy a piece of furniture or you buy curtains, it is expensive. All these ancillary costs.
Dave, what do we expect to have happen with interest rates?
Well, I think the consensus is definitely when the Fed, and they're meeting today, but they'll announce it tomorrow afternoon, that they will not tinker with rates. So we are all really waiting to see what the language is going forward. And it's really going to be between hawkish and dovish. Hawkish meaning, no, we are not raising rates anytime soon. Don't even think about it. To dovish saying, hey, you know what? We're going to send out the hint now that we could start lowering rates in September. That's sort of what Wall Street is voting on. So I think the market will do okay if that's what happens. But if they act like they're still not interested and don't even think about it, everybody, maybe not for the rest of this year, the markets will not like that, and they'll tank tomorrow and Thursday. But I don't think we're going to go there. I've said this before. I think the Fed really should start lowering rates now. But I think by September they will.
What about inflation? Because I'm actually hearing some pretty positive things about the market and the economy in general. And it's funny because I feel like everything's really expensive and that's not going to change.
Yeah, you know why? It's that cumulative effect, Amy, because when you have prices go up, they don't come down again, except for things like oil and gas. That fluctuates wildly. But clothing prices, auto prices, anything else, most of our food prices, if they go incrementally higher, it's not like they go back down to where they were 5 years ago. They're stuck. And so it's this feeling like, wow, things are so expensive. But what I look at is just the year over year. And right now, inflation is running at about 2.7%. We'll get the latest monthly number, the newest one, here in a couple of days. But the Fed funds rate, which is what the Fed looks at, is between 4.25% and 4.5%. So there's this gap. That's why a lot of people like myself say, wait a minute, your interest rates that you're keeping up here are quite a bit higher than where inflation is. Inflation, folks, Jay Powell, is giving you some cover now to please start moving that down. The housing market, man, is stuck. Not so much here in St. Louis. It's okay. But a lot of markets are really, really struggling and flat. And we're seeing some big price reductions because people are not wanting to lock in 7%. We need to unlock that for this economy to continue to move forward.
I am having the worst time with my microphone button. I keep hitting it 3 times and it wouldn't start. Anyway, so Dave, unemployment Friday. We just saw
Friday.
Yeah, we just saw a report that job openings fell. So how are these two things going to relate to each other?
Yeah, there are a number. It's interesting because there are a number of employment-related figures that come out during the week. We get this ADP number, which also goes into unemployment. It's also a number, Chris, that you just cited about job openings. That doesn't typically move the market much. Everyone's waiting for this Friday number to come out to say, where is unemployment? It's been hovering in that low 4% range. I don't expect to see any big surprises. Maybe it slightly ticks up 0.1%. I think that's okay. This is interesting about following economics and how it relates to the stock market. Good or bad news can sometimes be good news. If the unemployment rate on Friday all of a sudden goes up much higher than expected, you could see the market rally. And the reason is because, oh my goodness, the economy is weakening. That means the Fed really is going to have to cut rates, and they're going to do it more aggressively than we want. Mortgage rates are going to come down. They now have to spur the economy on. So you could see a market rally if we get a really bad number. I don't think we are. I think we're in that sanguine kind of lazy summer period now where the market will probably meander here for just a little bit.
All right, Dave Simons, we love talking to you and we appreciate you. We do this every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So how about next Tuesday at 10 o'clock?
I think we can do that. I will be talking to you. I hate to rub this in, but from the cool Colorado mountains.
Oh my gosh. That's the best place in the world. You can ask your wife about the 20% decorating thing.
Well, I think she might be pushing the 30%, so maybe I'll ask someone else.
Also, Dave, you know how much money you could have saved if you didn't go to Colorado?
Oh, my gosh.
He's older than 28 now, though.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I am.
Honestly,
but you could be
Oh,
You
go
could
ahead.
be a financial planner with that kind of thinking, Chris. That's very good.
Well, and I was thinking, if my financial planner doesn't have enough money at this stage of life to go to Colorado, maybe I shouldn't be talking to him.
Oh, good point. That's a great point. You know, it's funny you say that real quick. I've always told other advisors starting out, there's a fine line.
Yeah.
You don't want to act really poor because people are going to think, well, you obviously aren't even good at doing this for your own self.
Right.
But you don't want to be wearing a Rolex and driving a Bentley either.
Yep.
Because you make way too much money on your clients. Just live moderately and modestly.
Thank you,
That's
Dave.
my motto for the day.
That's what that's the title of our show, Moderate and Modest.
That's the title of my life.
Very good.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, guys, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
You too.
Dave Simon's partner and managing director at One Private Wealth. It is the Chris and Amy show, and a baseball great passed away last night, a Cardinals rival, in fact, and we will talk about that when we come back on KMOX.
Major League Baseball's trade deadline is Thursday at 5. What moves are the Cardinals hoping to make? Who'll stay? Who'll go?
You'd like to be on the other end where you're looking to add, but maybe there might be some version of addition by subtraction.
All day Thursday, stay with KMOX Sports for hourly trade updates, breaking trade deadline news when it happens, plus a complete look at what to expect on the Gas House Gang at noon and at 5. The Redbird Rush Hour will break down all that's happened with analysis and insight. The trade deadline, we've got it covered on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan along with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Doctor, when should somebody typically get a hearing evaluation?
You know, Charlie, the simple answer to that would be at age 65. However, there are some contributing factors that might make people more at risk for hearing loss. Some people with a history of noise exposure or a family history of hearing loss, or those suffering from tinnitus. Those people should come in to have their hearing evaluated at age 60. And of course, anyone noticing difficulty hearing or ringing in the ears should come in as soon as they notice these changes.
That's the word from Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center with 3 convenient locations: Florissant, St. Peter's, and Creve Coeur. Schedule an appointment today by calling 636-441-7470 or the Audiology Center STL.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Marilyn Facer recommends 3-day kitchen and bath.
Working with Dave was an absolute delight. Once everything was scheduled, everything went perfect.
Have you ever had a remodel done before?
About 25 years ago, and it was a nightmare.
Was 3-day kitchen and bath on time?
There was no delays. Everything was on time. All the deadlines were met. Everything came at once.
Would you recommend 3-day kitchen and bath to your friends and neighbors?
I highly recommend them to anybody.
Top quality products and craftsmanship in 3 days or less. Call 3-day kitchen and bath. Always on time as promised at the price promised, and your job comes with complete satisfaction guarantee. No ifs, ands, or buts. Visit their website at 3daykitchen.com. That's 3daykitchen.com.
3-day kitchen and bath.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club, Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
Sandberg had 4 hits Thursday, including a home run. Had 3 hits yesterday against the Cardinals. And the payoff. Line drive, base hit. Dernier rounds third. Zimmer says, come on home. Here's Lonnie Smith's throw. And he slides in safely. Sandberg takes second.
At 65 years old, and you just heard Bob Costas with the highlights of Ryne Sandberg, who is the Hall of Fame second baseman for the Chicago Cubs, who had been battling cancer for about the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And he had been doing well for a while. It had been in remission. He even made an announcement. It was around a year ago that things were going well. And last night, after the cancer had come back for a while and he was being treated for it, he passed away at the age of 65. So we thought we should acknowledge a player who, for many of us who grew up in the 80s, I was a Cardinals fan growing up. And I remember when I was young that the team we didn't like was the New York Mets, because the Mets were good. The Keith Hernandez
Pond
thing,
scum.
the Pond Scum, the Mets are Pond. We didn't do Cubs or Pond Scum t-shirts. We didn't have those. We didn't have the Mark the Cubs. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we didn't have those shirts.
Yeah.
It was all about the Mets. And I thought the Cubs Cardinals rivalry, at least to my memory, was a lot friendlier than it is now. You know, it was sort of that, kind of like big brother, little brother sort of thing between the two teams and the fan bases. Then it got there was a lot more venom once we got to about the mid to late 90s.
You brought up a good point too, though, where if you asked Cardinals fans in the 80s,
this is
maybe
my
we get
experience.
some people weigh in on this. 314-436-7900.
My memory of being a kid and watching those two teams play, and the Cardinals were really good. The Cubs were good in 84. Cardinals were good in 85, 87. World Series appearances. Everybody knows that. My memory of that time was, if you were to ask a Cardinals fan, if the Cardinals don't win the World Series, who would you like to see do it? My feeling was that 3 or 4 of the 5 people you would ask would say maybe the Cubs. Because there was a friendlier rivalry at that time. Again, it wasn't until the Dusty Baker, Tony La Russa era that things started to get a lot more tense between the two teams and two fan bases. But what I will say about Ryne Sandberg is I always remembered kind of liking the guy. You're supposed to not like your division rival opponents, the players on that team. And I always felt like I liked him. And I thought of him because he was a contemporary with Ozzie Smith. I always thought that'd have been a cool infield, an all-star infield. And they did play together in all-star games, to have those two guys at second and short. And I thought that was always a very neat thing. And I had a couple of interactions with Sandberg, not a lot. Did one interview with him, saw him in person another time and spoke to him. Very, very nice person. And it's one of those things when you grow up watching a player and he was a guy you were supposed to not like and he was on the other team, and then you finally meet that person later in life. It was one of those, like, I don't want to say awestruck because it wasn't that, but you do think back on when you were a kid watching him play against your team, and you have a lot of, I think, and I do and did have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah. No.
And so it's sad because he was a good dude, and cancer is awful. And I don't know. I feel really bad for my friends who are Cubs fans and loved Ryne Sandberg.
Yeah. And I agree. The people I've talked to, just from what I've heard as well, is that he was pretty well liked even from division rivals. Like it was different. It wasn't anything like the Mets. As you mentioned, he did have metastatic prostate cancer in January of 2024. 7 months later, he announced that he was cancer-free, but in December announced that his cancer had returned and spread to other parts of his body. And just as a side note, I have seen that happen multiple times with a couple of family friends where you're fighting cancer and then it's gone and then it comes back worse or in different areas of the body. It's so pernicious that way. That's really, really tough. I guess they prepare you for that if you are clear of cancer in one spot, why they have those follow-up visits, just saying this stuff can come back.
It has to be devastating to feel like at least in the moment you're past it, and then to have it come back and it's even worse. And I think Cardinals fans who were alive at the time and conscious of it, that 1984, that game in June that is now called the Sandberg game, the one where Willie McGee hit for the cycle and the Cardinals still lost, and Sandberg hit home runs in the 9th inning and the 10th inning to win it. One of those great individual games, and you had two guys who, and Willie was my one or two top favorite Cardinal growing up, Ozzie being the other. To have him hit for the cycle and then have Sandberg hit those 2 home runs, just a remarkable individual middle of the summer baseball game. But our thoughts are with the Cubs family and Ryne Sandberg's family today. When we come back, we will talk Cardinals baseball with John Denton, Cardinals beat writer for MLB.com. Trade deadline is coming up on Thursday. We'll talk to John next on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank and Building Community. We are proud to recognize Doorways as a building community partner. Doorways helps those who are invisible and ignored by society, people navigating poverty, homelessness, and serious illnesses like HIV. While HIV has become treatable, the number of cases continues to rise in the disenfranchised community. Building community means nobody should be invisible. Learn more about Doorways at doorwayshousing.org.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. I'm so proud to recognize Doorways, the only agency in the region dedicated to providing housing to individuals living with HIV and their family members. Doorways sees to it that clients receive on-site services to manage their lives, opening doorways to independence and opportunity. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
Currently, it is 88 degrees, real field temperature, 107, mostly sunny and hot today, a high of 97 tonight. Clear to partly cloudy, and yes, uncomfortably humid, a low of 76. Weather sponsored by Siding Express and SidingExpress.com. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, we specialize in James Hardie Siding installation. Visit SidingExpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's SidingExpress.com.
The Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, how an innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Joining us is Dr. John DiPersio.
Until very recently, until this paper and a few other groups in the world have sort of developed approaches for T-cell malignancies, there was no hope for patients who relapsed. There were no effective therapies. This is a way of treating these patients that would normally have no other recourse.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800
888-586-4040.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-770-0850. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-770-0850. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-770-0850. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-770-0850. 800-770-0850.
Upgrade your family vacation with an unforgettable escape to the Palm Beaches. From outdoor adventures and laid-back beaches to thrilling family attractions and animal encounters, the Palm Beaches have something for everyone. Discover premier resorts with creative kids clubs that will keep the little ones entertained while you enjoy world-class golf and spas. We are the original, the one, the only, the Palm Beaches. Plan your trip at thepalmbeaches.com.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Just dial pound 250 on your phone and say the keyword windows. That's pound 250 keyword windows, or head to rbastl.com.
Today, the Cards, the Marlins. Ameren Total Access 550. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Swanson's 2-2 pitch. Strike three called on the inside corner, and that's a Redbird winner. Light it up in downtown St. Louis as the Cardinals take game one of the three-game series 7-1 over the Miami Marlins.
Cardinals have a series that is ongoing with the Marlins at Busch Stadium. Game 2 of that series is tonight after winning last night. Matt Pauley's got the pregame show at 5:50, first pitch at 6:45, and it's all here on KMOX. Time to go to the guest line. Cardinals beat writer for MLB.com is John Denton, and he is with us now. How's it going, John?
Oh, it's going great, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you. And we were just talking about Ryne Sandberg, who passed away. Before we get to Cardinals business, we were just talking about Sandberg in the Hall of Fame, passed away yesterday. You've covered baseball for a long time. It's just one of those guys that had respect from pretty much everybody around the league.
Yeah, definitely. You know, an all-world player and an all-world person from everything I've heard. You know, just a gentle. He was 6'4". He was big for a second baseman, but kind of a gentle giant. You know, he was nice to everyone off the field. He often looked like the everyday man. You know, a guy who just kind of could relate to anybody in Chicago. I think that's why he was such a big hit in Chicago. Not to mention he was a great baseball player, and you know he was a rival of the Cardinals, but he was never the bad guy, villain, enemy, because everybody respected him in baseball.
Yeah, he was. It's very difficult to dislike him. Growing up watching the Cards play against him, it was just really hard to not like that guy. We were just talking about that Sandberg game too, the one where he played against the Cardinals, hit those 2 home runs late, and Willie hit for the cycle in that one, and they still lost.
That's what I was about to mention. Willie McGee gets overlooked for what he did that game. Willie McGee had one of the best games in Cardinal history that day, but it's known as the Sandberg game. So, but you know, I mean, you hit a tying home run off of Bruce Sutter in the 9th, and then the tying home run off Bruce Sutter in the 11th. It's going to be known as the Ryne Sandberg game, because we all know Bruce Sutter's a Hall of Fame reliever, one of the best to ever do it. So that was a classic memory. It's kind of, you know, bittersweet for the Cardinals because they didn't win that day though.
The thing that we are all paying attention to this week, John, is the trade deadline and what the Cardinals might do. They've already traded Eric Fedde to the Braves for a player to be named or cash. That determination is made later. I think all of us kind of assume that another reliever is probably going to go here. Maybe it's Ryan Helsley. Maybe it's Phil Maton. If you had to guess what's going to happen in the next few days, what do you think it'll be?
Yeah, you know, the Cardinals' strong suit is the bullpen, and so there are a lot of teams calling. There are a lot of teams in World Series bust mode. The Phillies need to get over the hump and finally win a World Series. They've been trying to do this for like 4 straight years now. The Phillies bullpen is a major weakness. They could use Ryan Helsley. They could use Phil Maton. They could use a guy like JoJo Romero, a left-hander who came from the Phillies back in 2022. He's given up 1 run in a month. Phil Maton is second in the league in lowest average exit velocity. He's 4th in the league in strikeout rate, and he's a guy who throws 89 miles an hour, but his curveball is elite. And, any team in the league could use Ryan Helsley. The Cardinals are getting a lot of calls from the Toronto Blue Jays, the team that has the best record in baseball. They need help in the bullpen. So, the Cardinals are going to get a lot of calls for all those guys in the bullpen. I really think, and Ryan Helsley himself even thinks, he's not going to be here by the end of the week. And that kind of crushes him because he's the longest tenured Cardinal. He's been here since he was drafted by the organization in 2015. He's been, this is all he knows. It's a little bit heartbreaking for him because he doesn't want to leave, but he knows how the game's played.
There was a report from John Morosi earlier today. In fact, it was within the last hour that Nolan Arenado, his name has come up in talks with the Astros, that the Cardinals have been talking things over. And of course, Houston had interest in him during the offseason. He chose not to go there. At this point, according to Morosi, no momentum toward the deal or toward a deal, but is it likely that Arenado is traded before we get to Thursday?
I thought that the chances were dying of that because Nolan has had a rough July. But talking to people in his camp, talking to people around Nolan, they believe that the likelihood is that he will be moved at this deadline. If you look at it, Chris, there are probably 9 teams that are looking for a third baseman. 3 of them are in the Cardinals division. The Cubs want a third baseman, the Brewers, the Reds, they're all looking for third basemen. Meanwhile, you got the Tigers and the Mariners. Those are teams that need third basemen. So because there's so many teams, everybody wants Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman for the Diamondbacks, the guy who had 4 home runs earlier this year. Everybody wants him, but when you miss on him, teams are likely to come to the Cardinals and look for a third baseman. The Astros, Paredes is probably out for the season after tearing his hamstring. They need help at third baseman. If they're going to be a serious contender, they've got to get an everyday third baseman. So it makes sense that Houston's calling again about Nolan Arenado because they had huge hopes of getting him back in December, and I don't think they've ever really abandoned that idea.
When it comes to trade deadline trades, are some of the players that maybe have no trade clauses or at least have a limit on their teams, do they change their mind? Do they loosen the rules sometimes at this point in the season than how they approach it during the off season?
Yeah, that's, the John Mozeliak has gone back. And one of the things that I tweeted yesterday, John Mozeliak and Sonny Gray had a conversation recently to find out if Sonny still wants to be in St. Louis. A lot of times players say in the offseason, I want to stay, I want to be a part of this. But when you go through losing, it beats you up. And, you get older in your career, you get later in your career, all you want to do is win. Nolan Arenado has $300 million in the bank. All he cares about now is being a part of a championship team. Remarkably, in 13 years, Nolan Arenado's won 1 playoff game. He came to St. Louis. He was supposed to be the missing piece that was going to help the Cardinals win it all. He hasn't won a playoff game in St. Louis. So you get later in your career, you start looking around, you want to play for a winner. And, maybe you had one idea of, hey, I want to be a part of it in St. Louis. But later in the season, you go back to these guys and maybe their thought has changed. Maybe Wilson Contreras at some point wants to play for a contender instead of being in St. Louis. Maybe Sonny Gray's mind changes at some point. Maybe Nolan Arenado picks a team that he wouldn't have picked in the offseason.
This question has been asked a lot leading into the deadline and knowing that the organization is in a transition from John Mozeliak as the president of baseball operations to Chaim Bloom. And people want to know, how involved is Bloom in whatever they're going to do here this week?
I think he will have a tremendous say in what's going on. Obviously, he's the guy who's going to have to deal with the future. He's going to have a say in everything. You know, the Cardinals don't make any moves in a vacuum. Like, it's not a one-person decision. There are, you know, multiple people sitting at the table helping with that decision. And Heim has a seat at that table, and Heim has a strong voice, and they would be foolish not to listen to him because, you know, he's built successful teams in the past. It's going to be his show in the future. He has institutional knowledge of the Rays and the Red Sox and even Philadelphia Phillies. So it would be foolish not to listen to him. And I think he's going to have a very strong say in what happens at the deadline.
What did you make of left fielder Ivan Herrera out there? I thought his post game was pretty hilarious. How he thought the ball when he had to make that catch out in left field, he thought it was 30 rows deep, and he was backing up, and then he had to run forward to get it.
Yeah. The pitcher thought it was gone because of the way he saw. Andre Palante thought it was gone because of the way he saw Herrera.
That's right. That's right.
But, I mean, Herrera pointed out afterwards, he said, look, John Jay has taught me, run to the spot, and then you're under it. Don't try to catch it while you're moving. So he actually did exactly what he was taught. But it was, you know, the coolest moment of the night was to see him catch that ball. The air comes out of his lungs, and he lets out a smile. So that first fly ball is, you know, it's scary, especially in a major league stadium. Maybe you catch it in spring training, it's no big deal. But you get in a major league stadium with 3 decks and 25,000 people there. He said, you know, he put his hand on his chest and his heart was beating through his jersey. He could feel it beating. So
I love it.
They're not going to play out there every day. It was just done to give Alec Burleson the day off. They've got to find a position for Ivan Herrera because he hits the ball too well. That bat's got to be in the lineup every day, but he can't just be exclusively a DH. He's got to learn to play another position.
Yeah, this is maybe the most important job for the Cardinals coaching staff and Ollie Marmol is to continue for the rest of the year to get a look at as many players as possible, gather as much data as they possibly can so they can make decisions for 2026. So getting him out there is important. Getting Nolan Gorman out there is important. What else do you see as being important for them in these final 2 months, knowing that they are 3.5 games out of a wild card spot? So even if they do make trades, there's always that, I guess, very distant possibility they could still be in September interesting as a team.
Yeah, Chris, you know, the last night kind of gave a glimpse of what's coming for the next 2 months. I mean, like you said, they've got to get Nolan Gorman back from, you know, he's out with a back injury. He's starting a rehab assignment tonight in Springfield. They've got to get him back. And if Nolan Arenado's gone, he needs to play third base every day. They've got to get Lars Nootbaar back. Lars is starting a rehab in Springfield Wednesday night. You need to find out if Kyle Leahy could be a starter. You need to find out if Kyle Leahy could be a closer. You know, there's so many things. By the middle of August, you're going to see the top prospects in the organization. J.J. Weatherholt's probably going to be here. Jimmy Crooks. You know, the Cardinals have about 8 catchers on the roster, but I'm not sure they have the catcher of the future on the roster. But they are loaded at the catcher position in the minor leagues. You probably need to get Jimmy Crooks here by September to see what you got going in the offseason with him at the catcher position. So there's a lot of answers still to be revealed. You know, maybe they're not on that championship track. Maybe they don't make the playoffs this year, but there are a lot of big questions that need answered going down the stretch.
All right, John Denton, as always, we appreciate talking with you here, and we'll be paying attention with the trade deadline at 5 o'clock on Thursday. So just a couple of days here for the Cardinals to make their move or moves, and we will be paying attention. Thank you very much, John.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Cardinals writer for MLB.com is John Denton with us here.
I loved how nervous Herrera was because I feel like I just the pressure of being out there and just your catcher, and then now, we'll throw it out in left field. That's a totally different view. I know these guys are professional athletes, but I have no depth perception. So to me, they say hitting a baseball is the hardest feat in sports. I think catching a really high fly ball is second hardest.
You better have depth perception if you're a catcher, because you need to know if that ball's 60 feet from you or 1. You know?
That's why I don't play baseball.
Because it'll hit you in the face. You got a mask on, but it still hurts. You can get a concussion that way.
You're right. You're very, you sound like a parent right now.
That's right. And I've brought the orange slices.
Were you good at catching high fly balls?
No,
you weren't.
I was good at pop-ups.
Really?
I played in the infield when I played.
But a line drive is way easier to catch than a pop-up.
Oh, super. Pop-ups, you know, when people settle under them,
Yeah.
if they're not really experienced,
Yeah.
where they think the ball is going to land, it's always like a foot behind you or 2 feet behind you. So they tell you to go where you think it's going to go and then back up a couple of steps.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because I will say when there are foul balls in the stands at Busch Stadium, I think it's going to hit me and then it is on the opposite side of the stadium. I just can't tell where it is at all.
I would like, not first of all, but as we say goodbye in this break or in this segment, I'm very disappointed with all the people who went to the Savannah Bananas game. I expected way more caught foul balls. There were like 2. There were multiple foul balls.
Yeah.
Almost all of them dropped.
Unbelievable.
We have to do better as a city.
We should.
Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6. Right here on KMOX.
The KMOX City FC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill on Limburg, Thursday, August 7th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or picture with City SC defensive midfielder Jake Gerwood-Wright. Register to win great prizes, enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots on Limburg, the place to be Thursday, August 7th from 5 till 7 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Calling all soccer fans. The Premier League is coming to STL. St. Louis City SC will host English Premier League giants Aston Villa Football Club. Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. Wednesday, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. That's stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Interesting baseball note. I was running with a buddy this morning, and I brought up the St. Louis conversation. Why do you live in St. Louis? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is it a love-hate relationship? What's so great about St. Louis? And we had a good conversation, and we're going to continue that at 11:30. So we do want to hear from you, 314-436-7900. And, of course, I brought up the pros that I had about it's such a great place to raise a family. There are so many things to do as far as sports and arts. And the food scene is insane. The music scene, I mean, we've got some incredible local musicians. We bring in some great acts. And so I just think it's such a great place. You get kind of that, like we said, big city feel, a big city amenities with a small town feel. And if you come from a smaller city like Tulsa or Paducah and you don't have any pro teams, of course, St. Louis has those big city pro teams. But the buddy that I was running with today lived in Athens, Georgia for a long time. And in the 90s, he said he would go to the Braves games. And the 90s Braves into the early 2000s, those were good teams.
Yeah, mid-90s.
Those were really good teams. And he said one thing that always struck him is that it felt like there were more Cardinals fans than Braves fans in the park. And he said, and again, he goes, maybe I just happened to go to those games where there were a lot of Cardinals fans. But he was basically talking about that strong tie. Cardinals fans travel. Cardinals fans are everywhere. There's that strong tie to the Cardinals themselves, but also to the city of St. Louis. And you represent when you're there. So he said it was always fun going to Braves games, even though the Cardinals were not that great at that time.
Well, for a long time, if you lived down that direction, that part of the country, you probably were a Cardinals fan. So I think it takes a generation or two to turn that over. You're going to have younger fans who become fans of whatever team shows up at the time. Like if you're 5 or 6, you're a fan of whatever's in your immediate background or your neighborhood. But a lot of people were Cardinals fans down in that part of the country for a long time. So I think it probably took the Braves a little bit of time to take hold. I think
because
down there.
Was it in the 60s when the Braves? I think it was the 60s, right? When the Braves showed up.
I don't remember exactly. Sounds about right.
It was before your time.
It was before my time.
Yeah. But at any rate, it was pretty interesting. And I do feel St. Louis people, you see a lot of St. Louis Cardinals hats when you travel abroad, whether it's Hawaii or Switzerland or Canada. You also see Yankees hats, right? I feel like the most common baseball caps abroad are Yankees and Cardinals. And Yankees could be true Yankees fans, but it could also be
I bet it's Dodgers. I bet it's Yankees and Dodgers. Abroad?
I haven't seen Dodgers. I've seen a lot of Yankees. But again, I'm not that I'm the best traveled person. But like in Switzerland, I saw a couple of Yankees hats. But what's funny is, I don't know, those Yankees hats are sold as fashion.
Of course.
So you know what I mean?
Of course.
So
kind of like
no one's selling Cardinals hats as fashion. If you see a Cardinals hat, it's a St. Louisan. A Yankees hat could just be a fashion statement.
And I do think Dodgers hats are probably like that. And for a while in the early to mid 90s, when the White Sox had that black it was a black hat with the white old English logo. That was like in the hip hop world, that was a huge thing. So it became pretty widespread. So you don't see that a whole lot in baseball, but you're right about the Yankees for sure. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX, and there is a documentary called Catching Bullets, and it premieres next month on August 14th at a theater in Pagedale. We're going to talk to Darren Seals, community leader with the Sankofa Unity Center, next. He's going to come up and talk about that movie when we come back.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey in studio with Gloria Liu, broker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and St. Louis's real estate expert. Gloria, while most agents make big promises, you're known for your upfront written guarantees.
My name is My Promise. While many agents promise you an unrealistic sales price just to get your business, I'll provide you with an upfront written guarantee stating if I cannot sell your home for 100% of market value, I'll pay you the difference.
Gloria, that's what sets you apart from others and why I recommend you. Folks, why risk working with just any agent when you can work with the best? Gloria Liu guarantees your sale price upfront and in writing.
Absolutely. And if I don't, I will pay you the difference. The agent you choose in this changing market matters and could cost you or make you thousands.
Sell your home with certainty, confidence, and for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. Call 314-325-6888 or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. That's gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-979-3168. 800-979-3168. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-979-3168.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
When we started Neoviten back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neoviten Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neoviten Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, and online at neoviten.com.
Community America is stepping up in St. Louis and showing what excellence in banking looks like. Or in other words, they're winning. Opening more branches? Win. Competitive loan rates? Win. Wealth management? Win. Which now makes sense why they asked me, Cardinal shortstop Mason Wynn, to tell you. That's win with two N's, not one. It's time to bank like the Mason winner you are. It's time your financial partner was invested in you. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
It is 11 o'clock. We've got sunshine in downtown St. Louis, 89 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey. The Israeli military continuing its offensive in Gaza. We get more from Eileen McHugh at the BBC.
Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says the number of people killed in Israeli strikes since the start of the war in October 2023 has now surpassed 60,000, though other assessments have a much higher total.
The UN's food agency warning it is unable to get enough humanitarian assistance into Gaza to counter the ongoing hunger crisis, despite new assurances from Israel that more aid would be allowed in. And as other nations start stepping in to help, here's CBS's Courtney Keeley.
This really is an inflection point because we heard over the weekend that Prime Minister Netanyahu said there is no starvation in Gaza. But yesterday, while on his trip in Scotland, the president of the U.S., President Trump, said he sees it. He sees it on television, that there is real hunger, that there is real starvation.
Pope Leo greeting the faithful after a mass for Catholic influencers and digital missionaries at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. The Pope asking the group to develop a language of our time that gives voice to love. The celebrations are part of the 2025 Holy Year or Jubilee, expected to draw tens of millions of pilgrims to Rome.
Today we are in a culture
where the technological dimension is present in almost everything, especially as the widespread adoption of artificial intelligence will mark a new era in the lives of individuals and societies as a whole.
A popular dog-friendly entertainment venue has shut down. Bar K in the city's Forest Park Southeast neighborhood has closed due to economic challenges. Bar K opened in 2021, a place where dogs could play in a 2-acre dog park and dog parents could sip cocktails, get dinner, and hear live music. Bar K was threatened with eviction by its landlord, Green Street. The company, which had several failed funding and acquisition attempts, also closed its Kansas City and Oklahoma City locations. Missouri is one of the top states in the nation for ice cream manufacturing. In fact, the North American Ice Cream Association is located in Wildwood. Executive Director Steve Christensen says there's a strong sense of nostalgia around the frozen treat.
I'm of the strong belief that people don't go to an ice cream shop just to get ice cream. They're there for a memory, a commiseration, a celebration.
Christensen says Missouri is home to some of the biggest manufacturers of ice cream, including Prairie Farms, all the way down to local micro creameries and custard stands. Maybe best for ice cream, but worst for early education. Missouri is the lowest ranking in the country, according to a new survey by Wallet Hub. The Show Me State ranks near the bottom in almost every metric measured, including the number of school districts offering pre-K programs and the total reported spending per child in preschool. The weather is sponsored for you by Saks Financial.
An extreme heat warning still in place through 7 p.m. tomorrow. Very hot and humid this afternoon with more sun than clouds or high 97. But AccuWeather real field temperatures topping 110. Mainly clear, very warm and humid tonight, though 78. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently in downtown St. Louis, it's 89 degrees at 11:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, retiresafestl.com. Have you ever wondered what it's like to work with a financial advisor? Are you in your 50s or early 60s and really haven't talked to anybody about how you retire? Give me a call today. Check out our website, retiresafestl.com.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors, The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We tired of the killing. It has to stop. We're going to drive gun violence out of our neighborhood.
It traumatizes us. When you constantly seeing death, you really don't care. Black men don't come up and just say, I'm evil. It got to be you did something to me.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors with you. And what you were hearing is part of the documentary of Catching Bullets. And it's an incredibly moving story. And right now, we're honored to welcome in Darren Seals, who is a community leader with the Sankofa Unity Center. And this documentary chronicles Darren's life. And he joins us this morning. Darren, thank you so much.
Yes, glad to have you.
And your documentary, want to let people know, it premieres August 14th in Pagedale at the 24-1 Theater. And it will be in there at least for several weeks, right? Yes. On August 14th.
If we pack it, it might be in there an extra 2 months, something like that. But Friday, the show's on Tubi.
All right.
So the idea behind the documentary, where did it start? And did it turn into what it was supposed to turn into when you started it?
When we first started, it was just I wanted to have some footage about me, the way I mentor. I mentor differently. I mentor like, hey, like your grandmom, you say, don't touch that stove, it's hot. So that's how I mentor. So, like my mentor taught me to say, listen. So I was trying to get these kids, a group of kids, listen. So the first batch, they went back into the streets. But this other batch came in. It was something about Tink. Tink was a different type of kid. He was a kid that I saw that he wanted it. He wanted success, but he wanted it from a different type of way. So he was like right on the edge of the fence.
And Tink was one of the kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tink one of the main characters.
We were talking before we came back just now, just during the commercial break. And you were saying, years ago in St. Louis, kids were playing outside. They were playing ball. They were playing hide and seek. You don't see that as much anymore, and how you want to continue to push the city forward. You want to change lives. Can you kind of set the table on what motivated you to do that?
Well, I got tired. And, I don't have my story. You can look on YouTube and everything. Once a man get you know that the end might happen. All my friends was passing away. So I was like, nah. Then I go to a funeral and somebody be, well, he did this, he did that. And I'm like, no, I want to tell my own story. So I started writing. And so I always want somebody, like I wrote a book, it's called Revelations of a Hustler. I wrote that in 1998. So that was my obituary. So I said, I don't want nobody telling my story. And then my mom used to always say, get up out the streets, but she didn't understand. I was part of something that was bigger than what she can say. She can tell me to get out the streets. I'm like, no, I'm making money. I'm having fun. The rush. And so I got tired. And I walked up in the church that I bought and turned it to a youth center and dropped my bulletproof vest and my gun at the altar and never looked back.
Was that hard for you to do? Because you've got friends and people that are, your peers, and they're all involved. So is it difficult for you to say, I'm not going to do that anymore?
Oh yeah, most definitely. When you walk away from something, it's an image you got to uphold. And if that image is more like you become a trophy, right, John? It's like a trophy where he got his guards down. I can get clout if I come at him. So I was like, I really didn't care because my mom told me, bury me, don't let me bury you. So that stuck to my heart. And so when I finally walked away, I didn't owe nobody nothing. I just wanted peace. And it's kind of hard to get peace when you surrounded by the crime. I call it the dinner table among thieves. That's the one at Park. And that's probably one of the craziest neighborhoods you ever can grow up in.
Yeah, you tell that story, as you mentioned, putting your gun and bulletproof vest down because you had made a name for yourself in Walnut Park, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not going to live this life anymore. How do you just have that sudden transformation? I mean, that's a 180 going the opposite direction.
Okay, probably like 2 weeks before then, I was getting shot at back and forth. Like every time I come out the house, I had to carry a gun. So you got to understand, me playing softball for rec, I used to have on a bulletproof vest and go up the bat with a gun on my side. That's no way to live. So a couple of times, I was like, man, he almost got me. Then I go to my mom and me and my mom used to have these deep conversations. I always say, the Lord got a special calling for you. And I was like, hey, Mom, but if it's a God, I'm keep getting shot. You talking about 13 bullets, so I was escaping, but then Ted Foster, he said, either you're gonna walk in or they're gonna roll you in. And that stuck with me too. So I wasn't a kid that didn't listen. Like John will tell you, I always listen to anybody that been there in the game that know, you gotta look at this man, been in locked up for what, 30 years. 30 years. And he come home because he met me through somebody else. And when he came home, he saw me want to change. So he was like, well, I'm gonna help out. So he started coming around. I said, man, can you mentor me? Because he knew what I was facing. He knew the trials and tribulations that's going to be ahead, judgment, how people going to look at me and say, you know what? Enough is enough. So
is what the community needs, and in particular young people, is it more mentors? Is it more people like you, or is it something beyond that?
It's something beyond that. I'm just a small part to it. It's more like if you get a kid and he has no father figure, but every day he sees a guy shooting dice, he sees all the excitement in the neighborhood. That's not coming to their eyes. Say, don't do that. That's like a video game now. That's why they got what's the video game where they shooting and all this other stuff.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So now let's say that's in the Warner Park. The Call of Duty is not the shooting; it's the excitement. These little kids getting behind the rush, not saying that this is it. It's no reset button. Like on the game, you get reset. There's no reset on this. So if you don't have nobody coming saying, stop, go this route, then ain't nobody telling because the father's out of the household. Mom working 2-3 jobs. I'm at work. I mean, like I'm speaking as a mom. I'm at work from 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock. That kid going to that rush, it's a magnet that it's like me. I was trying to build a name.
There's nowhere else for him to go.
Right. It's no youth centers over there. It's no like Matthew Dickey there, but we couldn't go to Matthew Dickey. So now these days they build one on West Florissant. They still can't go over there now. So they trapped in the zone where if getting shot is more like a diploma, a degree. I've been shot. No, they don't understand getting shot like me. I pay for it every day.
Is it like you said, like a degree? Is it a sense of belonging, in a sense?
Like you've earned something.
It's more like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
We believe, coming up in our neighborhoods, that our way to manhood is through violence. We have to prove that we're tough. We're the bad guy. That makes us a man.
And John, and I don't want to talk out of school. You said you were incarcerated
30 years.
For 30
I did
years.
30 calendar years in federal prison.
And then how did you meet Darren?
I heard about Darren. I've been back here 9 years. Okay, and I heard about his program and what he was doing. He's like a godsend. He's what we need. We're a product of our environment. If we're taught to make a living a certain way, such as maybe gambling, robbing, selling drugs, those are the things that we pursue. If we're taught we can become lawyers, doctors, we'll pursue that also. And we have to see examples of those successes. So I'm a statistic. My son is a statistic. We're not bad people. We're not inherently bad. We made all the wrong choices because we didn't see the right ones.
We've left with that.
So, because you'll have people listening to what you're saying, and they'll just say, "Well, you don't live that life. Just don't do that. You don't." Why is it not that easy? Why is it not that easy to just not live like that?
It's an ultimate rush. If you've never been in it, it's like you couldn't understand it. Do I go to work to make minimum wages? Or do I go on the block and make me $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a night? So it's more like I'm the man now. I'm the man. So it's basically like one drug dealer get killed, the next one got to step up, and then the next one step up, the next one step up. So it's like I want to be something I have no understanding of it. I always use the example. Scarface is probably one of the #1 movies America will ever make. But I watched it over 10,000 times. But what happened to him at the end of the movie? He get killed. I wanted to be Scarface. Everybody loved the story about Scarface, but forget, dummy, he got killed at the end of the movie. So with that being said, I wanted my story to end different from that. I wanted to give back. So Sankofa means you have to go back to the beginning. So I had stopped. I went back to the beginning. What made me want to do this? My father worked at McDonald's Douglas. My mother worked at Southwestern Bell. I never wanted for nothing. Why did I go that route? So I started knowing it's the community. So as I got deeper off into my mentor, it's not about somebody just hustling and selling drugs. It was the trauma. Trauma hits in every household. And once that trauma hit in every household, because every kid come to me, it's a problem. Like I said in the beginning of the film, we just don't go out and create violence.
It becomes a way of life.
Right. I never went out and say, give it up. I never did that. You more like, man, I'm hungry. I got to eat. I ain't got no shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine a kid coming to school with holes in the shoes. What's going to happen? They're going to talk about them. They're going to dog them out. They're going to bully them. So you mean somebody get 2-3 pairs of shoes hustling? Then there you go. So once you get a taste of it, but.
We were talking to a guest we've had before who looks at a violent crime and said that kids who grow up in neighborhoods with a lot of violent crime have higher rates of PTSD than returning veterans of war.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. That's true.
And how that just changes who you are or what you think your trajectory will be until someone like a mentor can help pull you out of it. Like do you need help being pulled out of that mentality, or?
All you need to do is understand it.
Yeah.
And usually experience helps you understand it. Until you had the experience, it's all a fantasy. It's all glory.
I know in the Catching Bullets documentary, the story also follows Preston, who's the 18-year-old son of your late friend.
Mm-hmm.
What is your relationship with Preston, and what does that story follow?
Well, Preston came to me, and I fell in love with him the first time I met him. And then I kept telling him, I said, man, I'm doing a documentary about my life. I want you to play it because we kind of favored each other. We kind of favored each other coming up. Then he had the heart. He wanted it so bad. I'm like, man, you like me. Because, couldn't tell him nothing. But he wasn't a bad kid. Preston was the type of kid where you can adopt him and say, okay, he did understand. But I always say God give you two things. He give you a choice and a chance. It was just, he wanted a different life real quick. Same as me. He got addicted to it. Not that he messed with any drugs. Addiction meaning I want to have a better life. And like he said, if it's sitting right there, I ain't got no choice to try to get it. If I moved in Chesterfield, you would be talking about, I got a PhD.
Yeah.
I'd be a lawyer right now. I'd be a professional baseball player. But when you're in the neighborhood that's surrounded by violence, then it attracts you. And it's the ultimate attract where what is a man to gain the whole world just to lose his soul? But if you know tomorrow is not promised, if a kid get taught like he teaches me, you got to look at reality and you got to reach out and try to go get it. Why do we got to lose so many young men? Because nobody understands. We get 1,000 organizations. So now I start figuring out when Ben approached me, I was like, you think you can change this to a movie? He's like, I don't know. Let's just shoot for it. I wanted this to be a success story where Tink, you was in the bottom of the gutter. And now I was pushing him to be greatness. But it flipped. And so now we had to come another route. But it's like a mother's at that front row is the worst nightmare. And I try to tell every kid, and through the movie, I want you to understand that what you want, you ain't got to have. You have to work hard for it. And the name, I don't know how we came up with the name, I guess by me being shot up and being just say catching bullets. I'm like, whoa, that's a name. So now we getting ready for Catching Bullets, the Revelation. So that's gonna be about strictly my life.
Catching Bullets is premiering August 14th at 7:00 at 24-1 Theater in Pagedale. So at least a couple of weeks it'll be there, maybe longer, depending on how it goes. Are you hoping that it gets distributed more than, is it just going to be at this theater to start and then hopefully other platforms people can see it?
I think other platforms, they're gonna grab it up because it's an interesting story. If you saw the plot of it, it's an interesting story where the hero is a different type of hero. Even though they look at me as the hero, I'm in that part too. But when they told me that Tubi wanted it, I'm like, whoa, that's big.
Yeah.
I'm I can just sit back at the TV and push the button and I see myself.
And people can see it for free then, right? If it's on Tubi,
right?
Isn't that right?
They can see it for free, but it's nothing like the premiere.
Right.
And the support. I think a lot of folks,
you want to do the support.
A lot of folks should come out so we can push it to other neighborhoods. I'm tired of when I hear people talking about, well, my son, he in college, it ain't gonna happen to him. But that shooter might hurt your grandbaby 10 years from now.
Right.
So it's like smallpox. Smallpox went. So somebody came over with a vaccination. Now we don't worry about smallpox, right? But it's still here.
Yeah.
Just different name. So violence in a different name is gonna keep coming.
Darren, John, we appreciate the two of you guys coming in. Thank you and for talking about this with us. And we encourage everybody to go. August 14th is the premiere, 7:00, 24-1 Theater in Pagedale. It's called Catching Bullets.
Yes.
A documentary featuring Darren Seals. Thank you for coming in and telling us about it.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Jerry Adler had their kitchen remodeled by 3-Day Kitchen and Bath and talks about the experience.
If we had only met Darren when we started doing this construction, I would have been a lot happier girl than I am now. My husband, when he heard the 3-Day Kitchen and Bath would be in 3 days and out in 3 days, did not believe me.
Did he change his mind?
When he saw that 3-Day Kitchen and Bath came in and was gone in 3 days, he found that was the best experience we have had. Darren worked with us on our budget so that we could have the kitchen we needed without feeling like we were completely out of our league. They were professional, cared about the other part of the house. The work is beautiful. I wanted to give them the biggest hug ever.
Top quality materials and workmanship. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. On the web at 3daykitchen.com.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus, offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chevy.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club. Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus, offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chevy.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
I'm a little overwhelmed, Ranj. It was such an incredible conversation with Darren Seals. His movie Catching Bullets premieres August 14th at 7 p.m. at the 24-1 Theater in Pagedale, Missouri. We'll be there. It sounds like at least a month.
Yeah.
But you want to get there, help support them. And we were talking off air as well. Just an incredible life that he's had, the work that he is doing to change lives. He mentioned he's a a chapter in Governor Mike Kehoe's book. They're
That's
buds.
right. Yeah, he
They're buds.
referenced
Yeah.
Governor Kehoe. We had Shamim Clark Hubbard, alderwoman, who messaged into the show. She's watching on YouTube and said he is absolutely a godsend in reaching the ones that others can't. And I mean, it's there has to be investment in parts of the city that have been forgotten for a very long time, and we can't do that because, as it has proven, and it's not just here in St. Louis, it's everywhere, the crime that ultimately comes from places like that or originates there, it doesn't just stay there. It ends up affecting everybody in the city. So we need to invest in those areas.
Yeah.
And there isn't enough investment. But the lesson that I think all of us can learn from Darren and from John being in here is the vast majority of folks who live in those neighborhoods, they want better. You know, they want better than what's happening and what they see when they step outside.
I'm going to go back and listen to the interview, honestly, because re-listen to it, because there was so much in what Darren said and about his experiences and the way kids growing up in, you know, a violent neighborhood, a violent environment, the way they view the world and how they're trying to survive. He also, I mentioned Governor Mike Kehoe. He mentioned the great work that James Clark and Michael McMillan are doing at the Urban League.
Yep.
And how he's tied in, and wow. I hope this absolutely just catches fire, just blows up.
I would love to see it.
Yeah, to see so many people know him and his story.
Documentary is called Catching Bullets. Wow. And if you want to go to the theater to see it, you can support them by going physically to see it. August 14th, 7:00, 24-1 theater in Pagedale. And it's there for a couple of weeks. He's hoping that it can be extended for several weeks after that. And then hopefully it does end up on platforms where people can watch it anywhere. Catching Bullets is what it's called. It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. We appreciate you being with us today on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The Dave Glover Show.
If you sit down with me and we talk about who I am, what I am, my values, political, voting record, you're never going to walk away and go, that guy's a bleeding heart progressive. I'm just not stupid. And I just don't take bait. And I just don't do things because you tell me to, or that I'm afraid that if I don't, fall in line or get on the bandwagon, people aren't going to like me. Been there, done that for years.
The Dave Glover Show, now on FM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Calling all soccer fans, the Premier League is coming to STL. St. Louis City SC will host English Premier League giants Aston Villa Football Club Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. Wednesday, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. That's stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
Currently, it is 92 degrees. It feels like 109. Mostly sunny today, a high of 97. Clear to partly cloudy and uncomfortably humid tonight, a low of 76. Weather sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning and Electrical.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call, even though it's late, JerryKelly.com.
Chris Ranji for Siteman Cancer Center, and you have to know that you are somebody's favorite person, and your health matters not just to you, but it matters to people who care about you. Getting screened early for any cancer, whether it's colon or breast cancer, prostate cancer, or lung cancer, it is important to do that. Siteman has set up a website called GetScreenedNow.com. And when you go to it, it's going to help you find a location nearer you. If you live a little farther out from St. Louis and don't want to make the trip into the city, you can get screened closer to home. GetScreenedNow.com, because for me, I'm over 45. It's time for that colonoscopy. Third leading cause of cancer-related deaths in both men and women. And GetScreenedNow.com will help you find a location that is good for you. Doing it early, really, really important. GetScreenedNow.com.
It's one of baseball's fiercest rivalries, the Cubs versus the Cardinals, and the action returns to Busch Stadium the weekend of August 8th through the 10th. Feel the heat, the history, and the excitement as these two legendary teams battle it out under the summer lights. 3 big games, 2 historic teams, 1 electric atmosphere you won't want to miss. Great seats remain. Secure yours today at Cardinals.com.
This is Wilson Contreras, San Luis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's more than a game, it's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer for Cardinals Nation. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands, because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody, it's our favorite song.
You've heard of Old Town Donuts, but did you know they were voted the best donut shop in America? That's right, and they've got 2 locations right here in Florissant and Cottleville. Stop by Old Town Donuts today and see why they're the best donuts in the country.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Today, the Cards, the Marlins. Ameren Total Access 550. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
At Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter, you will find our question of the week pinned there right up top. Do you leave your AC fan on constantly, or do you turn it off? Because I know that there are different theories, like no matter what you
about
say,
what costs less, like, right? What ends up?
I honestly don't know.
I think it's well, I think that's it. It's like, what's more efficient for keeping your place cool when it's really hot outside? Is it leave it on all the time?
See, I didn't think it was cost. I thought it was what's harder on your AC.
Well, that's
completely shutting off and on, like the machine itself versus like your bill. Because they said the bill is more expensive because the fan's constantly running.
Right.
Which is not a cost theory.
But that is part of cost. If your AC is working harder, then that means it's going to cost you more.
See, I didn't know. I just thought it was about the turning on and off.
Some people think that it works harder when you do turn it on and off because it takes more work to get it back down to the temperature you wanted,
which has cost implications.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying even if you like set it at 72? I thought it was you're not supposed to set you shouldn't keep your apartment at 80 during the day, because when you come home and turn it down, it has to work too hard.
Yeah. Right.
But what I'm saying is if you set it at 72 and keep the fan on all the time, if I didn't keep the fan on but I kept it at 72, it would still be working harder. I don't know.
That's what we don't know. I think that's the question we asked, right? Which is better? Which is more efficient?
The question of the week is for you guys to answer our question.
Yes, you're trying to help us out here.
The next question of the week is, what should I do?
This is not
my Subaru sounds like this.
Your car sounds like a diesel. It's like a tiny SUV. But that's the question, is we're trying to figure out what you do, what you think keeps costs down for you and prevents your AC from working too hard.
One of my friends, and again, this is why I don't know what I'm doing. But one of my friends said, she goes, yeah, we keep the fan on. It makes our electric bill higher, but it's not as hard on the AC.
What the hell does that mean?
Because you have to turns off and on, like turning your car on and off and on and off.
Okay.
I don't know.
So they think it lasts longer before they have to get a new one?
I don't know. I don't know anything about anything that's practical. Okay. You want me to recite a soliloquy from Shakespeare? Yeah. Do I know how to fix my car? No, I'm worthless.
Our guy Colonel Ripper watching on YouTube says the fan does not cost much to go on and off. The AC compressor is a big drain when it goes on, but he says it is better to have the AC off for a while than to run it continuously. And
Well,
he also
now I
says
feel
your
bad.
friend Amy is full of baloney.
Well, now I feel bad because through the hottest month, I've had my AC fan on.
Wow,
Now,
that's probably why it costs you so much. See, I tried telling you.
hey, in a lot of most of Europe, they don't have air conditioning, and one reason is because when you look at the latitude of Europe, it's way up there. It's like
It's nart.
northern Minnesota. Yeah. So Europeans look down on Americans for needing AC. Well, Europeans don't have Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi. Heck, they don't even have Missouri, right? It's further north. The weather's not that bad. Now, has it been getting hotter? Absolutely. Here's what blows my mind, because you know how in France with the Olympics, they were trying to do no ACs in the athletes' rooms, and the rooms, or at least they were keeping it at 78. And the athletes said absolutely not. Some of them brought their own ACs. It was insane. To the Olympic Village, they literally bought window units and all that, brought their own ACs because they're trying to be environmentally friendly. I just learned that a lot more people die in Europe from heat-related deaths than die in the United States from guns. Now, you're looking at more people in the EU, right, than you are the U.S., but 175,000 people a year, this is according to the UN, die in the EU from heat-related deaths.
Because they're just trying to tough it out?
Shouldn't they get air conditioning? Shouldn't they say that, you know what, AC is not an American abomination. AC, air conditioning, is not American consumerism and us being babies. I think they should start focusing on AC in Europe because that number seems really high.
Well.
And I Googled, and this seems really low. That like a couple thousand heat-related deaths in the United States each year. It said between 1,300 and 2,300.
That seems like a lot, I think.
It seems like a lot, sorry. But compared to 175,000,
yeah, well, of course.
I was like, well, what is it in the U.S.? But it does seem like a lot, but it says 1,300 to 2,300. They're not sure. Heat-related deaths.
But overall,
why does
isn't
Europe
there...
not get AC? 175,000. I still don't know that I believe this number. And like I said, I heard it from a reliable source, but then I looked and the UN, that's what they're saying. And you could say, well, the UN's lying. And I agree, the UN's not perfect. But that number, that'd be a weird number for them to make up.
Well, it probably is real.
Isn't that shocking?
Isn't
that shocking? That's a really high number,
but even with that, isn't their life expectancy better than ours?
I don't know.
I think it is.
And they smoke cigarettes in Europe.
And drink the wine.
Well, wine's fine.
Well,
wine and coffee is good for you. I don't know.
Coffee is really good for you.
I wonder when Europe is going to change its mentality and start accepting AC. Because here's the thing. It's a little backwards to me to poo-poo AC, to poo-poo air conditioning as an American indulgence when, listen, life was tough. And we're drinking clean water. We've made medical advancements. We can grow more food. All of these things have helped us live longer. I don't know why Europeans don't group air conditioning in one of those categories of modern advancement that helps save lives.
Well, again, most countries in Europe have a better life expectancy than we have.
So where's this number? Who are these people?
I don't know.
Are they old
I mean,
people?
like Switzerland, Italy, Spain, Norway, France, Sweden, they all have better life expectancy than us.
I don't know.
Ireland, Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Greece, Germany, the UK.
Well, I will say this. They are overall, they are healthier.
Czech Republic.
Yeah. I mean, people have called it an obesity epidemic or whatever, but we do know that with obesity comes other comorbidities that are really, really hard on your heart. Diabetes is dangerous. All of these things that come with that, which I'm sure that does not help our life expectancy.
Imagine Imagine if they end up adopting air conditioning widespread over there. They're
They'd
going to
live forever.
They're going to live to be 110 in Europe. Right?
That's why they don't have it. They're like, you guys are fine. You're living long, healthy lives. You don't need AC. Would you like to hear something really random? I actually feel weird now saying it out
Love
loud.
to hear it. Go ahead.
So while I was doing my tour this morning of Kirkwood, Webster, Crestwood,
right,
Oakland, where else did we go? Glendale, I don't know, all the whole area. I was running and my running buddy goes, see that apartment building right there? I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's where Sean Hornbeck was kept for 4 years. And it just blew my mind because I knew, a big part of the story is that he was taken and kind of kept, quote or unquote, in plain sight. But he was in this apartment building in Kirkwood, and it was a huge, huge national story and scandal. And he was 11 years old when he was kidnapped by Michael Devlin in 2002. And Michael Devlin kidnapped another kid the week before they found both boys. And Sean Hornbeck said he remembers thinking when this horrible person showed up with another kid, a 13-year-old, he thought, well, my days are numbered. Like he thought that Devlin was going to kill him or get rid of him. And as it turned out, the reason why the cops found where Sean Hornbeck was, they were responding to something else that was random at that apartment complex. And they noticed a truck that fit the description of the truck that was near Sean Hornbeck's house or whatever when he was kidnapped. They said that was really the only clue in the case was that truck. They had a description of the truck. That's all they had. And they found the boys at that apartment complex.
That's just wild. Absolutely.
Worked at a pizza place. Emos.
Oh my God. Did you say emos?
He did. I think he worked at Emos.
Why? You can say that.
I know it always feels weird.
You can. Why? It's where it happened.
I know. But there was a story in
it's
the
not
New
like
York.
Emos is responsible for it. Well, they're not. They didn't kidnap him. It's just a pizza place.
It's not funny.
No,
Don't say that.
I
You're
know.
making me uncomfortable. But there was a story in the New York Times in 2007, and it was like soul searching by Missouri suspects' neighbors because the neighbors were all saying, I can't believe we lived, above this guy or right next to him. And this was happening. And some of them saw Sean and said, we just thought he was a family member.
Man.
Like we didn't know.
How about I did not remember this story
So
at
this
all.
is I was going to let you bring this up because this is so insane to me. I think so. My friend said that I was for a long time the only person in the entire world that didn't know how The Sixth Sense ended. Didn't know
the movie.
Didn't know what the plot
Yes,
twist
it was Bruce Willis the entire time.
Yes, that I didn't know what the plot twist was. You've got to be the only person in this country of this age group who's not in Gen Z, right? Just of a millennial and older who does not know this story.
So maybe
it was on 48 Hours.
Okay, maybe I'd heard about it. I had moved town. I had moved out of this area. Literally 2 or 3 days before that all happened. So I guess I was going through the process of a move to a different different city. I just don't remember it.
But I mean,
this did not really sound
NBC
familiar
News,
to me. No.
CBS 48 Hours.
I remember Elizabeth Smart.
This was very much, it was like that type of thing.
I just don't know. It sounds vaguely familiar.
I will say this. He took the air out of my tires this morning.
I'm
when
so
I
sorry.
got in this morning, I said, oh my gosh, this is so random, you guys. But guess where I just ran by? And he has I don't know who that is. Now, granted, it's in the middle of a pretty busy area. So there are a lot of listeners who say, yeah, we drive by there every day. I just hadn't. It was weird to me. It'd be like walking by a house and saying that's where Elizabeth Smart was. It's weird. That's
Fascinating. And I mean that truly. I just do not remember this very much at all. Amy, we need to follow up on the St. Louis conversation that we were having yesterday.
Yep.
About your love-hate with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do that when we come back because we've been asking people if they have a love-hate relationship with being in St. Louis, living here, and how you feel about it. We got to follow up to that when we come back on KMOX.
Hi, St. Louis. This is EJ Turner, one of the 6 certified arborists with Timberline Professional Tree Care. Spring and summer in the St. Louis area can mean severe weather and storm cleanup for homeowners. Fallen branches or entire trees are not only unsightly, but they can be extremely dangerous. Each year, hundreds, if not thousands of homeowners are injured or even killed while trying to trim, remove, or clean up trees that have fallen. These injuries are often the result of falls from ladders or roofs, cuts from the chainsaws, or the tree itself striking the homeowner. We've all seen the YouTube videos. Don't let yourself or loved one become the next victim. At Timberline, we all have the knowledge and equipment to safely and efficiently remove that tree or tree branch from your home, structure, or yard. Go ahead and save our 24-hour number to your phone. It's 636-479-7475. Again, 636-479-7475, or visit our website at stltreecare.com.
The KMOX City FC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill on Lindbergh Thursday, August 7th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or picture with City SC defensive midfielder Jake Gerwood Wright. Register to win great prizes. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots on Lindbergh, the place to be Thursday, August 7th from 5 till 7 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-770-0850. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-770-0850. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-770-0850. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-770-0850. 800-770-0850.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
We had that conversation yesterday about whether or not you love, hate St. Louis. You have both feelings, which one dominates, and why you have those feelings. And multiple people have chimed in regarding it on our text line, 314-436-7900. And it's a good question because I kind of have it in a way.
Well,
I
you
do love it
definitely
here.
have it. But I think, like I said, you with your lifestyle, you libertine, I do think if you're a single person, you're looking for a nightlife, you don't have kids. I mean, a lot shuts down in St. Louis County by 10 p.m. and probably in the city too. There's just a lot that kind of closes up shop. If you are have a family, outdoorsy, like the arts and food and all of that in an approachable environment, I think it's the best. It's hard to beat St. Louis.
Well, I mean, I would say that you can have that any city. Every city has suburbs. Every single major city, mid-tier city, they all have suburbs.
But don't you think Chicago, though, it's different because there's Chicago and Chicago suburbs. And yes, there's community, but St. Louis is just so much smaller that it feels more like a small town. I mean, Geneva, Illinois is what, an hour outside of Chicago. That has a
Something
small
like that.
town feel. That felt like Webster Groves to me.
Right.
But there is something to be said for when the community, I think, might be your best asset, right? The people versus, people come to Chicago for vacation. People like, I want to go to school in Chicago. I want to spend the weekend in Chicago. You don't really get that with St. Louis. We're not a big, sexy city.
Right. But I would say that if you are in like LaGrange in Chicago, you have neighbors. You have a community there. People know each other. It's not like you keep to yourself because you live there. And here in St. Louis, everybody's friendly to everybody. It's not really all that different. And I would imagine in Milwaukee, it's the same. Cincinnati, I don't know that we are totally different than all those other markets.
I would say Midwest markets have a lot in common.
I would agree with that.
Midwest markets have a lot in common. And that's why I'm jealous that we're not Indianapolis. We should be Indianapolis, but I'm also glad we're not Omaha because they don't have any pro teams. When we had the NFL run, we were a Midwest, mid-market with the Rams and the Cardinals and the Blues. You have the 3 of the 4 major leagues. That's insane. And if you're from Oklahoma City, you don't have that. If you're from Tulsa, you don't have that. So in that sense, St. Louis had some big city benefits.
I've lost the text message. I can't find it.
I told you not to lose it.
There was here we go. It's right here. Chris and Amy, I have frequently heard you refer to Omaha, typically in a disparaging way. I grew up in Omaha. Have either of you been to Omaha recently? They have a world-class zoo, but is it free?
Is it free?
Warren Buffett
free?
Warren Buffett enjoys the restaurants. Check out Boys Town and the SAC Air Museum. Maybe St. Louis could learn how to revitalize a downtown and old warehouse district from Omaha.
They might, but imagine
I've been to Omaha twice. I went there the last time probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I guess. So I like it. It's just,
and this is why I brought it up. If you're in Omaha and you want to go to an NHL game, you can't, or an MLB game, you can't, and now an NFL game we can't either. But for a while, that's what I'm saying. Imagine if Omaha had a Major League Baseball team and a National Hockey League team and then an NFL team. For a while, that's pretty impressive for our down home St. Louis. Yeah, I can use Wichita instead of Omaha if it makes you feel better.
So last night I'm in Central West End and it's probably 8, 9, something like that. And right outside the Whole Foods at Euclid and Pine, there's a guy, and I'm assuming he was intoxicated, and he's just sort of walking around in circles, crossing the street, going back and forth, just
as one does on a Monday night.
And he's yelling. He's just yelling.
A lot of yellers.
Yelling. And he's yelling about St. Louis. and it isn't funny.
He was yelling about St. Louis.
Hold on. If clearly something was going on with this fellow. Yeah. Drunk, maybe a mental disorder of some kind. But he yells and he yells, "I am in hell, and guess where hell is? St. Louis, Missouri." I don't know what he was yelling. He's like, "Screw this city."
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Man, I don't know what he was going through.
He was walking around in circles yelling that?
Yes, I am in hell, and guess where hell is?
That's so mean. I feel defensive.
Look, I'm so sorry, man. Well, he lived here, so he can do it.
Well, why didn't you
That's our rule,
phone,
right?
Why didn't you get your phone out?
Well, because
and get some audio.
Well, because I didn't want to, bust the poor guy out.
Oh,
he was going through something.
He was going through it. Okay, so it wasn't like you were going to conduct an interview with him.
I was not going to conduct an interview with him.
Did he have pants on?
He did have pants on. He had shorts. Yeah.
How short were they?
Probably like cargos. So they weren't, hugging the plums. He was just a regular guy having a hard time. Are we done? Amy? Are we done?
Yes.
Should we go?
Is that going to be the name of your bar?
Hugging the plum.
Plum huggers. Pardon.
No. That's good. That's going
Maybe
to be.
that's your nice package delivery service.
Yeah. My nice package delivery service. All right. That's it for us. Big show coming up. Gas House Gang at 12 o'clock. Ollie Marmol is on the show for the first half hour. Bernie Miklasz, Tom Ackerman, and me going to be with you here momentarily. Thank you for listening. Podcast available wherever you get your podcast. But you should really download the Odyssey app so you can listen to KMOX live. Have a great rest of your day. Amy and I back tomorrow at 9 o'clock on 104.1 FM KMOX.